So welcome back friends, welcome again in another video tutorial in my YouTube channel. So today we will going to discuss or we will going to start a new video lecture series where we will talk about Bacillus Anthracis. Okay, so bacteria which causes anthrax are known as Bacillus Anthracis. So this was the bacteria which was used in 2001 US bioterrorism. So today we will going to learn about it. So this is how Bacillus anthracis appear in under the microscope. So Bacillus anthracis, as its name suggests, bacillus, that means it is rod shaped, right? And they may appear in chains or sometimes singly. Bacillus anthracis retain crystal violet and they appear purple after gram staining, okay, or you can say violet, same thing. So they are also non-motile and they are having capsules. They are facultative anaerobe or strictly aerobe or obligate aerobe. The most important thing is they are spore formers, okay, and they can grow on blood agar. So that is the appearance of Bacillus anthracis colonies on blood agar. So as I have told you that the spore of the Bacillus anthracis has special importance, that is because Bacillus anthracis uses these spores for infection, meaning that Bacillus anthracis will enter in our body in the form of spores, okay, and these spores are centrally arranged and they are heat resistant, okay, and they can be found in soil and air. That means it is clear that one mode of transmission or one portal of entry will obviously be respiratory tract, because here the spores are present in the air, right? And pets, both pets and human, are infected by Bacillus anthracis, can be infected by Bacillus anthracis, okay. So among pets, mostly cattle, sheep, goats are infected by Bacillus anthracis. So that is the general information. So Bacillus anthracis are rod shaped and they occur in chains or sometimes singly. Bacillus anthracis appear purple or violet after gram staining because they retains the crystal violet stain, okay. Bacillus anthracis usually a facultative anaerobe or strict aerobe, okay, and they have the ability to form spores, okay, and they have capsules and they can grow on blood agar. And Bacillus anthracis uses its spore for infection, and these spores are present in both the soil and air, okay, and these spores are centrally arranged and they are heat resistant, okay, and these spores can infect both pets and humans. So now we will going to discuss a flowchart that will help you to understand what kind of disease Bacillus anthracis can cause and how it is getting its entry inside the human body, okay. So firstly, that the thing that I want to told you, that in human Bacillus anthracis causes two kind of infection. One is cutaneous infection and another one is pulmonary infection, okay. It is clear that cutaneous if Bacillus anthracis will going to cause cutaneous infection, so it have to enter through the soil, right? Because try to understand, from air it can only get its entry through respiratory tract, right? And respiratory tract will transfer them to the lungs, right, and facilitates the pulmonary infection, okay. So Bacillus anthracis which are coming from the soil causes cutaneous infection. Bacillus anthracis which are coming from the air causes pulmonary infection, okay. So now there are two pathways by which Bacillus anthracis can enter human body from soil. One is from directly soil and another one is from soil to pets and then from pets to humans, okay. And mostly whenever there are wound in the pets, the Bacillus anthracis from the soil can get its entry into the pet and infects pet, okay, and from those pet via wound it can be transferred to the human and facilitates cutaneous infection. Okay, and sometimes the Bacillus anthracis can get its entry directly through the wound of human. Okay, so now we are first discussing about cutaneous infection, then we will talk about pulmonary infection. Okay, so cutaneous infection is the most common type of infection that bacillus cause. About 95% of the Bacillus anthracis infection are cutaneous infection. Okay, and the mortality rate for Bacillus anthracis cutaneous infection is relatively low. Mortality rate is near about 20%. Okay, so now, as I have told you that Bacillus anthracis will enter inside the human body in the form of spores. Okay, and these spores will initially be non-functional. Okay, and it will start to germinate when it will reach the tissue. Okay, and causes a painless dark pustules. Okay, and from this tissue it will transfer to legionnaire lymph node. Okay, very important thing. One thing you have to clear in your mind, that both in case of cutaneous infection and pulmonary infection, there will be the regional lymph node or lymph node. Okay, there will be involvement of lymph node. So now from that lymph node, bacteria can also reach the circulation and causing septicemia. Okay, so that is the all about the cutaneous infection of human caused by Bacillus anthracis. Okay, so Bacillus anthracis spores are present in soil. From that soil, Bacillus anthracis can be transferred to the human via wound. Okay, or the Bacillus anthracis spores can enter into the pets via wound, and then from pets it can be transferred to the human from the wound. Okay, and once it gets its entry into the human body, spores initially is in inactive state. Okay, now these spores will germinate when it will reach the tissue. Okay, and now from that tissue it will migrate to the regional lymph node. Okay, and before migration, when it already starts germination, it causes painless dark pustules. Okay, and from those regional lymph node it will transfer to circulation. Okay, so that is the pathway for cutaneous infection. Okay, and another one is our pulmonary infection. So another important thing I want to add here, that from air via inhalation, Bacillus anthracis can enter into the pet. Okay, and from that it can also facilitate cutaneous infection. Okay, although I have told you that in most of the cases cutaneous infection causing Bacillus anthracis are coming from soil, but there is a chance. But you know what, from pet it will enter via wound, right? So there is no direct chance that cutaneous infection causing Bacillus anthracis will enter through air, right? So now this is time to understand about the pulmonary infection. So pulmonary infection is more dangerous than the cutaneous infection, although it is rare, but the dangerous thing is it has a mortality rate of 100%. That means the person who have developed pulmonary infection will surely die. Okay, so the first thing that it will cause is progressive hemorrhagic lymphadenitis. Okay, that is the inflammation and enlargement of the lymph node. From that, as I think you know, that lymph node play a important role in our immune system, right? So as it is affected by Bacillus anthracis, so there will be a immunocompromised situation. Okay, and this immunocompromised situation will causes the emergence of various dangerous diseases that usually cannot develop when our immune system is well enough. Okay, such as let's say candidiasis or any kind of infections which are known as opportunistic infection. Okay, they are waiting for the opportunity when the immune system becomes weaker so that we can cause the infection. So under such circumstances, when the pulmonary infection causes progressive hemorrhagic lymphadenitis, they will start showing their infection, okay, and that ensures the death of the individual. Okay, so that is the total flow chart. So let's try to revise it once again. So there are two source where Bacillus anthracis live in the earth, right? One is soil and air. More specifically saying, the spore of the Bacillus anthracis reside in soil and air. Okay, from soil via wound, Bacillus anthracis can directly infect human, or from soil Bacillus anthracis can first infect the pets via their wounds, and then from pets it can be transferred to the human, okay, again via their wounds. And from air, Bacillus anthracis can also be inhaled by the pets, and from them it can be transferred to the human. Okay, this is the three possible way by which cutaneous causing Bacillus anthracis can enter inside the human. Okay, and the one and only thing is when human inhaled Bacillus anthracis spore from air, or there is a unknown source from where human inhale the Bacillus spore, they will facilitate pulmonary infection. Okay, so in case of cutaneous infection, it is the most common one. About 95% of the Bacillus infection is due to this cutaneous infection. Okay, and mortality rate under such circumstances is near about 20%. Okay, so first thing is the spore is non-functional initially, but it will start to germinate when it will reach the tissue. Okay, and from this tissue, during this germination process, it will cause painless dark pustules. Okay, and from that it will transfer to regional lymph node. Okay, and from that regional lymph node it can transfer to circulation, causing bacteremia, then septicemia. Okay, I think you know that bacteremia is the presence of bacteria in the blood, and septicemia is when bacteria are multiplying in the blood. Okay, septicemia is more dangerous condition than the bacteremia. Okay, and in case of pulmonary infection, which is the rarer case, Bacillus it is near about 5% of the cases of the total Bacillus anthracis infection, and mortality rate here is near about 100%. So it causes progressive hemorrhagic lymphadenitis, that is inflammation and enlargement of the spleen, sorry, not spleen, in inflammation and enlargement of the lymph node. Okay, that will create a immunocompromised situation. Okay, that also facilitate the emergence of various opportunistic infection. Together they ensures the death of the individual. Okay, so that was the first video of Bacillus anthracis. So in total video we have learned that Bacillus anthracis is rod shaped, and they appear chains, or they sometimes appear singly also. Bacillus anthracis appears violet in color after gram staining. Bacillus anthracis can be cultured in blood agar. Okay, Bacillus anthracis are facultative anaerobe, and they are also strictly aerobe. Okay, both kind of Bacillus anthracis are present, and Bacillus anthracis has capsule. We will going to discuss about the utility of capsule in causing pathogenicity in upcoming videos. And Bacillus anthracis uses their spore for infection. The spores can be present in soils and air. Okay, and spores are centrally arranged and heat resistant. Okay, from soil via wound of the pet, it can be transferred to the human, or it can be directly transferred to the human and can enter through the wound of the human. Okay, and from air, pets can inhale the Bacillus anthracis spore, and then it can transfer that Bacillus anthracis spore through the wound of the human. Okay, and these three situations facilitates cutaneous infection. Okay, where you may develop painless dark pustules or septicemia. And in another condition where human directly inhaled the Bacillus anthracis spore, or human inhaled the Bacillus anthracis spore from some unknown source, they will facilitate pulmonary infection, which is the rarer one, and where the mortality rate is near about 100%. Okay, that will causes lymphadenitis, that is enlargement and inflammation of the lymph. Okay, and that will causes a immunocompromised situation and facilitates the death of the organism. Okay, so that is the entire concept of Bacillus anthracis. So I hope this video will be helpful to you. Thank you.